back to the Grio. We all know the popular saying, failure's never an option. Well, one author is turning that saying on its head. In her new book, Get Familiar with Failure, author Kei'Renee uses her failures to teach new entrepreneurs how to build success. She joins me now to talk more about her book. Kei, welcome to the Grio. You use your failure to help others. What does that mean? What failures have you experienced and how did you make them into a success?
Well, thank you for having me, first of all. And I definitely have been utilizing all of my failures to help others. I feel in business, there was a lot of things that I didn't know firsthand because first, I'm a first generation entrepreneur. So there were things that I didn't have the answers to when it came to networking, when it came to pitching and trying to get funding. I wanted to create this so that other first generation entrepreneurs out there, they have some type of resource.
For the first time entrepreneur, what advice would you give them?
For a first time entrepreneur, I would tell you to go for it, and do it fearlessly. Do it even if you are afraid, and just try. I feel like sometimes we get afraid to put our dreams out into the world because we're afraid that someone might reject it, that somebody might criticize it, that, maybe we don't know what we're doing. But I say do it anyway and figure it out along the way.
Now, you could be out there figuring out your next big thing, figuring out how to make your next fortune, figuring out how to create the next empire. But instead, you are building your own career, but also dedicating your career to assisting other people, especially entrepreneurs. Why'd you choose that path?
Organically, I've literally been doing this since I started producing events. The very first event I produced was an entrepreneur-driven event called Stylers Panel, and it was teaching entrepreneurship and teaching brand development and everything that I do when it comes to developing entrepreneurs.
And when you think back to your first days, your first moments as a first-time, first-generation entrepreneur, what lessons would you give yourself now?
I think the lessons that I would give myself is to not be so hard on myself.
No, that is so important to say. We have to give ourselves some grace.
Yeah.
We have to be gentle with ourselves as we go through this process. I remember as being a first-time business owner, opened a bookstore and a coffee shop. And I knew a lot about the business of it. I'd spent a long time studying it. But then when you start writing checks and you start opening doors and paying bills, it's a whole different world.
It's a whole new ball game.
Oh my God. And all my big ideas turn into medium ideas. Some of them turn into small ideas. Some were just bad ideas,
But as long as you keep going, because the only way that when you fall, you're doing nothing but looking up. So you gotta stumble so that you can get to the next piece.
What made you decide to go the book route? Because there's a lot of books out there for entrepreneurs, a lot of books out there giving advice.
Yeah.
What makes yours different?
This comes from the perspective of a first generation entrepreneur. You're gonna learn things that I went through in real time, and you're going to get real time solutions. The first time I tried to land a partnership, the first time I tried to get a sponsorship, you get to read that email, and then we're going to dissect that email. Just get in, hello, and direct them to a phone, direct them to a deck, direct them to a Zoom call, get in, get out, and get the dollars.
That's it. Yo, lesson learned. There's a whole lot more lessons in there, everybody. Kei'Renee, the author of the new book, Get Familiar with Failure. The book is out. Make sure you check it out anywhere books are sold, but of course, always support Black bookstores. Kei, thank you so much for joining me.
Yes, thank you for having me.
Everybody, still ahead on the Grio. Actor turned author Omar Epps talks about his latest project.